Green Lantern Corps, issue 11, license number 114, Morgan Hampton writing with Will Conrad, Max Dunbar, and French Calmagno on the art. So still a lot of artists, although the specific issue with the last one, which was one of the artists was so different and drawing a specific character so differently from the others that it was actually confusing. That problem is gone, right? So it's still a little bit all over the place for art in terms of it's not, it's never going to win our Art of the Week award, I don't think, but it's not actively confusing, so that is a win. And I will say that I think this water villain, like him explaining his backstory at the start, I actually quite like this backstory. I think it's quite interesting.
Yep, so do I. Just the whole idea that he comes from this hive mind, and the Green Lanterns had brought these refugee people from a planet that got destroyed, and they came in and kind of destroyed the hive mind. Now he's the last one left, so he has beef for the Green Lantern Corps. Well, just bringing the people that destroyed.
Elaborate on that a little bit, because you made it so they just came out of the planet and killed them all. Yeah. So this was a hive. So the planet is Enquar, and it was just an ocean planet, nothing but ocean. And the Green Lanterns presumably thought that there was no life here because it was all just water. And this alien race that had lost their world had kind of done it to themselves by pollution, and then they kind of did it to this world after the fact as well. And all of the other life in the water, presumably all water-based life, all died except this one remaining survivor. So obviously it's a lot like the other character, Fatality, her being the last of her kind and all that, which is why he's going to her for assistance. He doesn't really need her, as he puts it. He just kind of he wants her to help because he thinks she would appreciate getting revenge on the Green Lanterns. And that's who he blames. He blames the Green Lantern Corps for this. He doesn't blame the alien race who came and then eventually left after they sort of ruined the world with their oil rigs and all the rest of it. But I think it's an interesting backstory. One, I like the idea that he's a water life form and that they were all part of a hive mind. The idea that he fuels himself by sucking the life force out of someone, and that turns him into that person or alien or whatever for a short time before he reverts back into water mode. But that's how he feeds, is he sucks whatever out of them. So he's explaining all this to Fatality at the start of the issue, but then the rest of the issue we skip to the other characters. We got Ellie on Mogo, who is with all these other lantern or light construct based beings, and she ends up encountering Effigy, who comes out of Mogo pretty pissed off. If I have a critique, is that maybe there is just a couple too many things going on again in this issue. Even though I kind of liked most of the stuff that was going on, it was just maybe a bit too much in one go.
A lot of juggling going on here. Yeah,
because we introduced that, and then we immediately go over to the young lanterns being trained again by Kilowog, and they're talking about, your astral projection lantern self, and all that malarkey, which they get to.
I do love that Kilowog's like, if Guy can do this, you guys can do this.
Yeah. The main dramatic thing here is that Aya can't do it at first, but the other three can, and she's questioning, is it because I don't have a soul because I'm not as organic as everyone else? And Kilowog says that's nonsense, but when she does eventually do it, it's because Razor's fighting with, I forget his name, but the Yellow Lantern.
Arkillo.
Thank you, Arkillo. They're fighting in the skies above, and it's when that's happening where she finally does it, and she's able to basically go into Razor and resuscitate him, kind of thing. And it's like a whole little moment, and it's like, hey, can we all do that? And I think Kilowog's like, no, I think that's just a her thing. So it's setting up that she actually has some unique extra abilities with it because of her her nature of being.
Yeah, and we find out that the red and yellow lanterns are fighting right now because, on Oa, all of the different corps have their own areas, and there's these little disputes going between them. And through this, they find out that stuff has been missing. And Kilowog immediately is like, oh, well, Larfleeze is here, isn't he? Why are you guys fighting when clearly he's probably the one? And so I do like that. It gives it a little bit of a sitcom-y kind of vibe here, too. In a good way. That's a compliment.
I do like how they intermingle a little bit because Ellie calls John for help, and he's been kind of standoffish with her. But as he's getting this call, and he's with his wife, that's when like the other plot like flies past them in the background, and like Guy and Kilowog with the Rookies are chasing the fight that's happening, and he's like, well, I think they've got that sorted, I'll go and help Ellie. So he does, and they have a fight with Effigy, and it looks like Effigy kills Ellie at one point, and there's a super angry moment where John's like, you just effed up, and gets all pissed. The big thing here, one, she ends up being okay, for one. But John kind of says, like, I don't really consider her to be my sister, because she's technically not, but I'm not saying she isn't family. He's basically just saying she is something else. She's something new, but she's not my actual dead sister, because that's someone who's gone. But he does seem to care about her. So we're setting up some interesting kind of dynamics there.
Well, and the fact that it even shocks Effigy, because Effigy is like, I didn't mean it. And John goes like postal and is like, she was just a kid. She only ever wanted to help, you know? And so, so John's coming through this, you know, like she's realer than real at this point, you know, like she's her own entity, her own being. And then when she reemerges and he's like this, because we already know that she's got the blue energy, right? Yeah, she's a screen construct. Yeah. And so, so she comes back and like, with these butterfly wings, like she's been reborn almost, and it's this really nice like symbolic moment, and she's hovering over John almost like an angel, you know. So I feel like there's a lot more going on here.
Oh, for sure, yeah, but it definitely feels like we're going to learn more about that. And Effigy's ending, by the way, is he just kind of gives in. He says he wants to go to the light, and he flies into the sun. So he basically just kills himself, and it's like a really dark moment of like, oh, geez, that's okay, John doesn't even know how to take it. He's like, well, this is wild.
But yeah, because he doesn't want to go to that cell again, because he was trapped in like this lantern inside Mogo. And because Mogo split because of what had happened before, you know, with the, was it before the space vampires? When it was the Durlin guy that used Mogo, right? That's why he's splitting.
I don't remember.
I can't remember, but yeah, there was a plot point before. Sorry, there's a plot point before, and so you see like these big like fault lines in Mogo, and that's where Effigy comes out of. And so again, with Ellie showing up there, and she's this Blue Lantern, I do like that she's there to kind of put Mogo at ease, you know, in a way. And there's like this fire that comes up from him. You know? Yeah,
but the important part, though, is that when he does decide to fly into the sun, he says, I won't go back to that cell. I don't care why he freed me. And John's like, wait, who? Who put you there? Who freed you? So there is a mystery here of like who trapped him in Mogo. So that's something we'll get to. The other thing is that Jessica Cruz is not happy with all this fighting, and she like makes a call to everyone, giant head construct, saying, this is it. I want representatives from every corps. I'm meeting tomorrow. I'm pissed, and that kind of is the wrap up of that stuff. And then the final page of the book goes back to the water being and Fatality, where the water being feeds on the mechanic who was fixing up the ship and turns into him. And it seems like Fatality's on board for getting revenge on the Green Lanterns, but it does seem like maybe they're going to swerve us there, and she's going to actually try and like stop him, because she's kind of maybe. She's not inherently evil, and given the interaction she had with the John and the others last issue, it feels like she might swing in that way. But he says, I'm going to reanimate Inquar in my own image and use it to drown everything the Green Lanterns hold dear. And with them distracted, they won't even see you coming. So I like this plot they're building with this character for sure. Yeah. Obviously, having three artists on a book, it means that it's never going to be the most coherent art consistently throughout. It's very much just kind of trying to be house style throughout, so nothing special there. It's fine, it's serviceable, it gets the job done, but it's not doing much of.
I really liked the Ellie and John stuff, because what it does with the constructs and Effigy and the fire and just like her blue and green, and then when John shows up, like it's very clean, so the colors really pop compared to some of the other art.
Yeah, and fire obviously contrasts very well with blue and green, because it's yellow and orange.
And so so that art, up against some of the other stuff, where like the stuff with the water dude, like it's fine. It's really heavy on the shadows, so it stands out as its own thing, but again, it wouldn't be my favorite art anywhere. But yeah, it's a fun story. I really like that we're getting all these different pieces of the Corp, right? It doesn't feel like it's just one person's book because we're following everybody. That sometimes can be a fault as well, right? Where we're not spending enough time.
Yeah, like, I love that all these characters are getting some time and they're all advancing and that there's like these through lines. I think it was just because we had both the fight on Oa with Razor and Arkillo, but then we also had the effigy stuff. It felt like those two things in the same issue felt like a little bit too much. Although I did like John getting the call to go help and that other fight's in the background. I thought that was a fun moment. But it's almost like, we could have saved like where he goes to though for the next issue potentially. But clearly there's so much they want to fit in because they want to get to whatever this big story they're building up to is. But I like pretty much everything here. I think maybe it could breathe a little bit more in some ways, but that's maybe my only critique. So
we line up again because I don't have much to add, but I do like seeing just the core themselves training the young, or the newer lanterns, so those, as long as you don't lose those, I'll be good. That's a lot of fun.
No, they seem committed to sticking with those, as well as Ellie and everything else going on. So, no, still digging it. It's still a nice secondary Green Lantern book. It's it's just right at that level of being well and like good enough and interesting enough to keep with the other book, but at the same time, it's not in danger of kind of overtaking it at the moment. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. All right, what are you giving Green Lantern Corps?
I'm gonna do 7.5.
I think I agree with that. I like what it's setting up with the water stuff, and then I like most of the characterization. So yeah, I'll agree with the 7.5 on that.